I'm Michael of M.O.D Catering Services. Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. So we had a very busy week last week, and during one of those busy times, a call came through requesting for one of the biggest cake we can ever do as at that moment, because the cake has to be delivered in the next 1 hour. We quickly reached out to the sheet cake we baked for our cutout. Yes, we normally bake sheet cake for our wedding cake cutout. So we just decided to use that one for our lovely customer because she wanted something big and huge for her mother's birthday. So we started dividing. We started by using our tape measure to divide our sheet cake into 2 equal parts. We didn't want any part being so bigger than the other, which will end up wasting the cake. So I took out 2 trays, but after layering them, I realized they were so short and it wasn't presentable enough because she wanted something very big. I had to reach out for the next tray and add another half layer to it, making it 5 yummy flavors. So with this cake, we had vanilla cake, coconut cake, strawberry cake, red velvet cake. 4 different yummy, more delicious flavors coming together to form this one huge, big cake for our lovely celebrant. So we layered our cakes with whipped cream, we sandwiched them and used our yummy Meister strawberry filling cream to fill in as well. So here we have our 4 layers. We ended up adding the last layer, which is our last extra layer, making 5. So after adding all the 5 layers together, I decided to trim the excess and trim the edges to get a super clean cake layers popping out. I normally trim my cream cakes, especially if it's a square shaped or rectangle shaped. I believe no one wants stress, especially when it comes to whipped cream covering. If it's fondant, it's different. But with whipped cream, we don't want to go through that much stress. So here, I trimmed all my edges, making sure my cake layers are clean, super sharp, and very neat. So here we have our trimmed cake, looking all good and beautiful. So I decided to sandwich my whole cake. But I decided to crumb coat my whole cake with whipped cream, neatly sandwiched. I normally say if you want to have that perfect look or perfect finishing of your beautiful cake design, it has to start with your crumb coating. You don't just crumb coat your cake anyhow and expect to get a beautiful cake at the end. If you crumb coat anyhow, you're going to get anyhow results at the end of every cake decoration. So please make sure you're going to do a perfect crumb coating. So when you're doing your final coating, you don't stress yourself due to the bad crumb coating you did earlier. So here, I decided to crumb coat and scrape. After crumb coating, I scrape the whole sides. I love perfect crumb coats because it gives you that perfect cake finishing. So I crumb coated it, did my neat sharp edges on my crumb coat, and refrigerated it for some few minutes because we had just less than an hour, 30 minutes to deliver this cake. So I tried to refrigerate it for a bit, bring it out, and just do my final coating. Here we have our cake being covered in our final design. So Abby was also busy about to stencil our wafer paper we used for our final cake design. So we used our wafer paper for that beautiful design we had there. We stenciled it and used our steamer to design the wafer paper the way we want it and used it for our final cake design. So most people normally use piping bag in decorating their cake, but I prefer using my palette knife and my cream, controlling it myself. I don't like using piping bags in decorating cakes because it ends up giving your cake more cream than the usual cream you would have used when using your palette knife. And I love using water in smoothing my cake. Let's say if I want to smoothen my cake, I use water, not chilled, not hot, just a room temperature water. I have the spray bottle. That's what I use. I spray the water around my cake. Then I just use my spatula or my cake comb, the smooth side, to just smoothen my whole cake. So I'm going to just neatly clean the board. Then I'll start doing my smoothing process with my spatula and my cake scraper. I spray a bit of water to make the cream look soft. Then I just smoothen it out with either my palette knife or my smoother. I'm going to do the same with all the edges, all the sides. So we scrape from the edge to the center, from the edge to the center, and from the other edge to the center. Don't scrape from edge to edge. That's not the correct way to scrape cakes. So you scrape from the edge towards the center, then you stop, then you scrape from the other edge towards the center. So you are done getting all your sides equal. Do not scrape from edge to edge. As I said, don't scrape from edge to edge because it will affect your sharp edges. It will affect the sharp edges you've already created. So as you can see, we are not done yet, but you can see those edges there. So if you are struggling or you struggle with your cream cakes or your square cakes, there's an easy go-to method to smoothing and get your sharp edges. You scrape from the edge to the center, then from the other edge to the center. You don't get to the edge. Don't scrape from edge to edge, no. Except you are combing. As you can see, when I'm even combing, I comb from the edge to the center and comb from the other edge towards the center to meet my last end. That's what I'm going to do with all 4 sides until my comb has been neatly passed around my whole 4 sides. The 4 sides of my cake has been well and neatly combed. So we're going to do it this way to maintain the smoothness and the neatness of our cake and maintain our sharp edges. We want everything intact. So you scrape from the edge to the center, then from the other edge to the center to meet wherever you started from. So you get them uniform. And do not turn your comb. If you turn your comb, you're going to get 2 different combings. Let me say, if this other one started from the top, you end up starting the base rather from the top. So you please don't turn them and be, no, you should maintain the position of the comb and you don't change them. So here I'm going to just smoothen my top. So I'm scraping from the edge to the center, from the edge to the center, from the edge to the center till I get my edges clean and neat. When I'm done, this was going to be covered with writings and fruits. So I didn't need to bother myself, stressing myself with the total smoothness of the surface. I wanted to just get something neat, to have my writings and everything visible on top. That's my toppings and my writings. So we have the inscription and we added some fruits. The fruits, we added apples and grapes, the red and green apples and grapes. So I'll do a video on how to prevent your apples from discoloring. Because of time, we couldn't do all those stuffs. So even with this one, I said to speed it up so that I can quickly finish up with it, then add it to my cake. So yes, here is what I'm talking about. You just use your steamer to shape the wafer paper into any form or shape you want. You use your steamer to shape your wafer paper into any shape or form you want it to be. So we did this with all our cut out stenciled wafer paper before applying to our cake. So here is a new technique you can also learn and use for your cake design. You just stencil your wafer paper, use your steamer to smoothen it out and do something beautiful. We piped the whole borders with our whipping cream. Then we started arranging our wafer paper and we started using our cutout name, that's our alphabet, cutout alphabet for the final inscription. Then we added our fruit. So the fruit was added before adding all those inscriptions because we didn't want to end up exhausting the whole space. So here we go, adding our beautiful stenciled wafer paper. It's going to be a beautiful layers of stenciled wafer paper just at the base, heading towards the top edge of our cake. You have to do something beautiful and nice and presentable for a grown-up birthday. And you know how we do it. It has to be neat, it has to be perfect, it has to be presentable. And so here we are just going to fill in every part that needs to be filled in with half of our stenciled wafer paper. So here we have our lovely wafer paper technique on the side of our cake. So here we are going to just layer our cut out fruit. So the mango has been soaked in our solution, the one which prevents it from discoloring. So I started arranging them, but I realized the gloves were busy taking out some of my piped cream. So I decided to just take off the gloves and arrange the apples without the gloves. By doing so, I washed my hands. I washed them thoroughly before arranging or doing my final apple arrangement on our cake, just to prevent the gloves from taking more of our piped whipped cream. I didn't want to mess up the whole cake after arranging the fruit, so I just had to take off the gloves. So I did this beautiful apple and grapes arrangement on our cake. Afterwards, I arranged her name in the center. I added all the inscriptions needed for the cake in the center, and our cake was ready to be delivered. We did this beautiful, massive cake in less than an hour. In less than an hour, we did this cake, and we went all the way to Lashibi to deliver the cake ourselves. So here is the beautiful birthday cake for our lovely birthday celebrant. Thanks once again for joining today's section on Michael of M.O.D's Catering Services. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.